Okay, so the main difference is dealership versus private. Okay, that is the difference because as soon as it's a used vehicle, now the option is to buy it privately, right? You cannot buy a brand new car from a private, right, person. It has to be automatically dealership. But once it's used, you have two options. Dealership, you pay both taxes. PST plus GST, 7% plus 5%, that's 12% always. Okay? If it's private, you only pay PST, right? That's 7%. So that's the big difference, right? That's one of the major advantages of buying private. You're saving, 5%, which adds up, right? 5% of 1,000, right? It adds up, and once you get into the tens of thousands, you save that. So that's the biggest difference, right? Um, let's go over some definitions, and I will add here safety inspection, right? A qualified mechanic inspects and clears the car. By the way, when you look for a car on Kijiji or wherever, I'm sure a lot of you already know this, right? But a car needs to have a safety inspection, a Manitoba safety inspection, in order for you to be able to insure it. So that safety inspection, it's a form that you take to a mechanic, and they check off the brakes, they check off the steering, they check off everything on the car that is concerned with the safety of the car. And so whatever fails the safety needs to be addressed. So let's say they put an X along by the brakes need to be replaced. And before you get that safety, you have to pay for the brakes to be repaired. And so if you buy a car that does not have a safety inspection, you are in for a lot of, like, potentially spending a lot of money before you can actually drive that car. So let's say there's a person selling a Honda Civic for 3 grand, no safety, as is. You might be like, hey, that's cheap, 3 grand, that gets me from A to B. It's cheap on gas, I'll buy it. But you will not be able to drive it. You'll not be able to insure it until that safety is passed, which means you have to take it to a mechanic. They might tell you, hey, you need to spend 4 or 5 grand in this before you can actually drive it. So the safety is huge. This is just for life, okay? Make sure it says safety included. It's already safety. And the safety inspection is good for 6 months. So you got to watch out for that date. Because sometimes they'll say, yeah, I have the safety right here, but if you look at the date and it's more than 6 months old, it's not good. You have to redo the safety. So you have to watch out for that that you don't get tricked into it, right? And you know what? They usually a person that says, "Look, I safetied it. Yeah, I know it's over 6 months old, but I haven't really driven it, so it probably will pass." Don't fall for it, right? It's like, well, how about you get the safety done again, and then we'll talk, right? Show me a safety that has passed the inspection. And I'll probably I'll try to bring in a safety inspection. I have an old one somewhere kicking around. The safety inspection itself is usually like $60, $70. It's like a rate that Manitoba Public Insurance, uh, that's a standard rate. Like you pay like $70 to get that safety done. And if it passes, it passes, right? So a brand new car, obviously you don't need to worry about it because everything is brand new. But if it's buying used, then you need that safety inspection. The book value, the value of the car based on make and age. So there's something called um, this is one of them, Cali Blue Book. Cali Blue Book. If you look that up, like let's say you're interested in buying a car, they tell you what that car should roughly be worth. Okay? There's a Canadian and an American site. You have to go Canadian, okay? So let's say you're interested in a Honda Civic with a specific year, engine, everything. let's say, and maybe don't write this down, but let's say you look it up and it says that the car is worth 5 grand. Okay. You look on Kijiji, there's a person selling it for 3 grand. It's like, oh man, that looks like a deal, right? So this is the actual value of the car you're looking at, and this is the book value of the car you're looking at. And so there's a difference there, and you'll see what we do with them. Okay? Purchase price. It's the actual value paid for the vehicle. It may be more or less than the book value. So here it is. It may be more or less than the book value. That's very important to remember. If there's a trade-in, subtract from the original price. So if the car is worth 5 grand and there's a 2 grand trade-in, obviously that is the purchase price there. You subtract, and there you go. Okay. Let's continue here. This right here is from your formula sheet. So if you grab that yellow formula sheet that you have, I hope everybody here has it. If not, let me know. I'll get it to you later. At the back of it, you will have this available to you as well. So it's just the same thing, just a little different format maybe. But when you're buying new, you pay PST and GST, so it's 12% always. If you're buying used from a dealership, you're still paying both taxes. It's still 12%. So maybe write this down in your study. You can have this on your study sheet or just here in the booklet. If you're buying used and it's private, let's read this carefully. You pay PST, all right, but it is calculated on the greater of book value or purchase price. So this is what I'm going to highlight. PST greater of the book value or purchase price. So whichever is bigger, that's where they calculate the PST on. And you know why that is? Because AutoPack wants to make money. You know why? And this has happened. That's why they've introduced this, because it could be that, for example, let's say Yuvrach is selling me a car. I give you 5 grand for that Honda Civic, but on that paper, on the actual selling agreement, you say $1. You sell me the car for $1. And so you pay literally no taxes on that, right? Like 7% on $1, right? Here goes your 7 cents, right? And AutoPack didn't like that. People were doing that all the time. So they were like, no. If you do the dollar thing, we still have a book value. We still know what that car is approximately worth, and we're still gonna get you no matter what, right? So that's what it is. So you pay 7%, but this is the caveat here that you need to watch out for. And we're gonna do examples. It's gonna make sense later. You just have to watch out for. Safety, no PST, only GST. So on safety, whenever you see safety being done, you only charge 5% taxes on that. You don't pay any PST. Materials and labor. So let's say you're getting brakes replaced, you're getting new tires. It takes 2 hours for them to work on it. It doesn't matter. We put it all in one bag and we charge 12% on that. Lien search, no PST, no GST. What is a lien search? You need to understand that. This is very important, okay? Every car, right? Every car has a serial number. I don't know if you know this, but I would have to take a picture of it. But on your dash, don't copy this part right here. But let's say this is the top view of your car. This is the front windshield. This is your steering wheel right here. Somewhere up front here by your dashboard, you can actually look at it from outside through the windshield. There's a long, I think it's like a 16-digit. It's numbers and letters. That's the VIN number, VIN or a serial number, and it's unique to every vehicle. Okay, this is why that is important. You search the records to see if there is money owing, if there is money owing on the vehicle. Plate number? No, it's not the plate number. It's not your license plate number. No, because that can easily be replaced. This is like a plate that's like on your car. It cannot be removed easily. It shows up in other areas of the car as well, like on the door. Sometimes when you open the door, it's on the side of the door. But this is where it's important, okay, folks? Pay close attention to this. You can do a lien search yourself. You can do a lien, it costs like 20, 30 bucks. And it's a national registry, and it searches the system to see if anybody owes money on that car. Because let's say somebody in BC owes money on that car, there's a loan out for that particular car, and they drive it to Manitoba, they sell it to you cash, and then you want to register with MPI, they will actually type in your VIN and it will show up like, hey, somebody owes money on that car. Have you ever seen a repo show, like where they repossession, like the bank comes and gets your stuff because you're not paying it? You will literally lose that car. Like they will come and take it from you, and you get nothing for it. Like, because it's not, they're saying that they're going to tell you that it's not fully paid. The bank basically owns that car until you fully paid it, right? So just keep that in mind. Not everybody knows about it, but you pay 0% tax on that. So and it's not that expensive. Just go look it up. It costs 20 bucks, 20 to 30, it depends. I do that. I do that every time before I buy a car. I get the VIN number. And some of you might say, well, what if I end up not buying the car? I lost 30 bucks. Well, it's better to lose 30 bucks than to lose, a couple $1,000s. So that's a lien search. It's like, really? Did he have to talk about lien search for that long? Right? Yes, it is important, and it will show up. So let's do some examples here. And I will give you a formula in a bit on used cars. That's like a general formula which will help you out, okay? Example one, you agree on a price of $12,999 for a used car. There's that word, used. But there's also dealership right after it. So you have to look for two things. If it's a used, they should also tell you if it's from a private, if it's from your neighbor or your friend, or private, if it says private, right? So used, is it dealership or is it private, right? So it's telling us that it's used dealership. And they want how much is it including tax. So by the way, so this is what I'm going to do here to help you out. Used, it's dealer, it's 12%. Private, 7%. That's basically what it comes down to. And so because it's a dealership, we're just going to go 12,999. So this is just testing your knowledge, right? Times 1.12. And that is 14,558.88. Okay? Simple question. Now here's one that will have everything in it, okay? Pretty much everything. And this formula that I'm about to give you, hint, hint, it's going to be boxed in. And I don't know if you remember me talking about boxed in things, right? So here it is. Private. I'm just going to call this private. And it's going to be a long formula, so try to make sure you get enough room. So it's the purchase price plus book value slash purchase price times 1.07. Okay, so make sure you get this bracket. And this is the tax calculation on the vehicle. Oh wait, uh, can everybody look up once? Look at your screen here. This is supposed to be 0.07, very important. Not 1.07, but 0.07. Then you're gonna go plus safety times 1.05. Yes, it is 1.05 plus lien plus, this continues here, parts and labor. I'm going to put that in brackets as well, times 1.12. So that's basically in a nutshell. When you're dealing with a private sale, this will help you out. So look carefully and make sure you have it all right. Purchase price plus, this will be in brackets, right? Book value, purchase price. Why do I have both of them there? Because it's going to be the greater of the two that is going to make it in there. Okay, whichever one is bigger, that's the one that's going to make it in here. Then you have safety times 1.05 because you pay 5% on safety. Lien has no taxes added to it, so you just have that number there. Plus, if there are any parts and labor, any work being done, you'll add 12% taxes to it. And make sure you have 0.07 here. Yep, go ahead. So let's give this a try here. So Patty is buying a car, right, from it's a private sale. So we know that it's a used and it's going to be private and it's $9,500. It will need 2 lights, right, that cost $60 each. 4 brakes for $150 each. It needs a tune-up. So tune-up is, you need new spark plugs and whatever it needs for your engine to run well. The labor to do the repairs takes 2 hours, right? So 2 hours at $65 per hour. There's a safety check done for $40. So you will know that there's a lot more involved when it's a used purchase, right? This is important. The book value is 10 grand for the car. Calculate the total taxes paid and the total purchase price of the vehicle. I'm going to get rid of the total taxes paid, okay? So we're just going to do the total paid for the vehicle. We don't have enough room for the other one. So make sure this formula is there. And I'll tell you this, okay? Listen carefully. This formula is just in case these components are there. You might get a question that does not mention anything about parts and labor. You might get a question that does not mention anything about a lien search. So then this just reduces to that, okay? So don't worry about it if it's not mentioned. If it doesn't talk about safety, then it's even shorter, right? So it depends on, this is just, if it's there, this is how you would approach it, okay? Because parts and labor has a lot of components, I'm going to do that first here. Parts and labor. I'm going to calculate what it would be. So you need 2 lights that cost $60 each. You need 4 brakes for $150 each. And you need a tune-up. So that is just, so 2 times 60 is 120, 4 times 150 is 600. And tune-up, right? So this would be lights, brakes, tune-up. And that's 190. So let's add that all up here. So if you add everything up, you get 1,040. Wait, am I missing something? Oh, sorry, the work is missing. Okay, the 65, it's 2 hours at $65 per hour. So it'll be 2 times 65, which is 130. This is labor. Let's add that all up. This plus this plus this plus this. We get 1,040 for parts and labor. Okay. So whenever there's parts and labor, do that first on the side and then start with the long formula here. So let's give this a shot here. Private, what is the purchase price? 9,500 bucks. That is the purchase price you agreed at. Okay. So 9,500 plus, which one is greater, book value or purchase price? And we look, and the book value is slightly more than the actual purchase price. So the 10,000 will find its way into this bracket here. 10,000, like that, times 0.07. Close it. Safety, is there a safety? Yeah, it's $40. So that'd be 40 times 1.05, just following the formula here. Is there a lien search? No lien search, so don't worry about it. Plus parts and labor. So parts and labor is 1,040. We multiply it by 1.12. So you've basically just followed my formula and just plugged in what you knew and what they were giving you. So let's go another line where we just figure out what these all amount to. So 10,000 times 0.07, that's 7%, right? That'd be 700 bucks plus 40 times 1.05 is $42, right? This gives you 42. And the last one here gives you 1164.80. Right? So we figured all of that out. There's no lien search, so that never made its way in here. And now let's add everything up. So this plus this plus this plus that. And that gives you 11,406.80. And that is including tax, right? After tax. I will make a note here because I get it all the time. do not add taxes again. Okay. What do I mean by that? Some students make it all the way down to this final value here, which is great. It looks beautiful. And then they'll be like, okay, now times 1.12. You've double taxed yourself. You've double taxed yourself because this already adds taxes to the labor, parts and labor, right? The 1.12. 1.05 adds taxes to your safety. So you've already been taxed there. The 9,500 gets taxed here. So you're figuring out what you're going to pay taxes on. Is it this or is it the 10 grand? In this case, it's a 10 grand because it's greater. So you're actually adding the taxes here to that used vehicle. You get it? So do not, at this point, go times 1.12 again, because then that would not be a fair deal, right? You're getting double taxed. You don't want that. So this is the price. When you do this, when you use this formula, that is already the price after tax. Okay? Now, the rest of today's class, and I will give you the answer because they're asking for how much is paid for the car in total after tax. Okay? Make sure you add that. I'm going to give you the answer. It's 19,089.16. So for the rest of today's class, this is what I want you to work on. Try this example right now. It's fresh, and if you have time to spare, you can already start the questions, which starts on page 9. Okay, and we'll see how we do that. Okay, so I'll stop the recording here.